What's going on, everybody? And here today, I'm finally here to make my Detroit Tigers 2016 preview and predictions video. Preview the roster, give my predictions of what I think each player is going to do, and kind of preview the team. So, a general overview of my general thoughts of the team. This team, unlike last year, last year I came into the season with optimism that they could win the division one more time. I knew how KC was. They had just come off a World Series run, and the Tigers were going to have to really battle to win the division. Well, with David Price, with Justin Verlander looking, good early on in spring, and Anibal Sanchez, even minus Max Scherzer, I was like, okay, this team they have enough. Miggy Cabrera, Victor Martinez, JD Martinez was coming off an outstanding breakout year. I just thought they had enough, especially getting Iggy Iglesias back for the entire season. The bullpen, was still in question, but I still had hopes and I still had aspirations that they could be a team that won the division. Well, last year, Verlander got hurt. Sanchez wasn't good. He got hurt, had problems with the gopher ball. David Price gets traded. Yoenis Cespedes was good, and they ended up dealing him because the team was so far out of it. Iggy Iglesias had a good year. Kinsler was good in the second half. The bullpen was bad. The rotation was bad. They were so bad for depth. They ended up losing Kyle Lobstein. Kyle Ryan pitched. Buck Farmer pitched. And they were so bad for depth. Randy Wolf was a Detroit Tiger for a few starts at the end of the year just to kill some innings just because they needed a starter so bad towards the back end of the year. This year is much of the same. Now, this team comes in with a revamped offense. I guess you could say revamped, but with added additions to the offense. A different bench, this year, looking at Romine, you're looking at Saltalamacchia, you're looking at Mike Aviles out of the bench, Cameron Maybin, Ghost is going to be on and off. He's not going to be an everyday starter. JD's coming off a great year. The addition of Justin Upton. So it's a bit different team. And then Al Avila goes out and does a lot in the offseason to try and get the bullpen better, acquiring Justin Wilson, acquiring K-Rod. To really revamp the bullpen to make it better than it has been. Jordan Zimmerman was also signed to give his team some depth. Mike Pelfrey was signed to, I guess, be a veteran presence at the back end of the rotation, even though he's not very good. But nonetheless, those are the bigger additions and what this team looks like. Now, this team, with the way it sits right now, is going to be very boom or bust. They hit over 40 home runs in spring, so they have power. The rotation did not look bad. Pelfrey had a good spring. Verlander had a good spring. Norris got hurt. He's going to start the year on the DL. Sanchez hasn't looked bad in his first two starts back. It's been positives for him. JD Martinez had a great spring. Justin Upton didn't have a good spring till the last week. He had 3 home runs in 2 days. Kinsler had a really good spring. Blaine Hardy got hurt. Alex Wilson went through some stuff. He was hurt. So overall, this team coming into the start of the season is already facing some injury problems. So they're starting behind the 8 ball a little bit. But they're a team that's going to be very boom or bust. And everyone wants to sit there and talk about how Verlander's the key to the rotation. I say Anibal Sanchez is the key to the rotation because you got Jordan Zimmerman and Justin Verlander at the top. I don't have any worries about Zimmerman. Verlander was very good in his second half last year. Posted a 2.70-something ERA in his last, 8 starts. But Sanchez, for me, is the one that makes it go around because if you don't have Sanchez, you don't have that third arm. Because when Sanchez was healthy and he was good, for the guy who won an ERA crown a couple years back. So, he's a guy that's proven that he can do it and, he can be a viable option. But you don't have Sanchez, then all of a sudden you got a rotation that, Shane Green's probably going to start he won the 5th spot in the rotation. You got Mike Pelfrey, and then you're going to have, Buck Farmer or Kyle Ryan pitching, that's just a lot of, Matt Boyd. That's just a lot of youth and a lot of arms that aren't that good. 3 of your 5 arms, are subpar arms. And, you can't really get by with that. The Dodgers won last year with that philosophy, but, they had Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke. You're getting elite production at the very top of your rotation, so you can make up for, a bit of crappiness coming out of, the back end of your rotation. But the Tigers can't do that. Now, I think with this offense, They're going to mash, and they're going to cover up their bullpen like they did, or they can cover up their pitching a little bit more, especially with this, hopefully revamped bullpen that is going to hold some leads here. Nonetheless, they just have to get healthy, and they have to get off to a good start. This is. They didn't win many. They only had, I think, in the last 3 months of the season, like three instances where they won back-to-back games, 3 games in a row more than one time. I think they did it like 2 or 3 times in the last 3 months. They couldn't string wins together because their pitching was inconsistent, their offense was inconsistent, But I think with this offense, I think it's going to be able to mask some of their pitching problems for now. They went to the World Series masking a crappy bullpen back in 2012, but this is a way better bullpen than they had in 2012. So my expectations coming in is they're going to be a team that's going to be good or very bad. I could see them winning the division. I could see them being a wild card, but I could see them, getting hurt. Miggy getting hurt again. Verlander having a down year. Pelfrey being bad. Zimmerman getting rocked in his first year in the AL. The bullpen faltering. Injuries hurting them in the pen, and then they suck, and they're in last place. I mean, they're going to be really good or really bad. I don't see much common ground, middle ground here for this team to, be a wild card. They're either going to win the division, or, that's going to be pretty much it. That's how I see this team. There's just a lot of questions. But they do have talent in place, and they look like right now as a spring they're going to be a good offense, and it's going to be a fun team. I'm actually going to opening day. I'm actually going to go to all 3 games opening weekend, which is going to be really fun. So I'm looking forward to it. So let's start getting into the actual preview and talking about player by player, position by position moves. Let's start with the catcher, starting 9. James McCann. If this kid could come out, if he can hit 260 to 270, get on base at a 310 clip, I would be very, very happy with that. With his defense, I mean, he's not a great pitch framer, but with his arm and his much improved ability to call a game, I'm okay with that. Give me 260 to 270. Give me 10 home runs. Give me, slug for something. Just give me that and I'll be happy. Just post an OPS just over 1,000 or 700. 7 to 750 of OPS, and I'm happy, especially with the arm he gives you behind the plate and the maturity. He's a very mature kid. I really, really like what we got in James McCann. Miguel Cabrera. This man, for the first time in 10, 11 years, he didn't have 130 home runs and 100 RBIs. I mean, this guy's a machine. He's a tank. You know what you get out of him. He won a batting title, even missing, some of the season last year. Miggy Cabrera this year, it's just like he's like an old clock. I mean, he's just so reliable. He's not 30. You can just pencil him down. He's going to be a full healthy year. Give me 30, give me 100, give me 325, close to OPS, still close to 1,000. Yeah, I mean, he had an on-base of 440 last year. The dude's amazing. He's going to be really good again. Cabrera's going to be good. Ian Kinsler. Now, this is a guy that I really wish, we could have a full season of Kinsler playing good. Kinsler, first year, he was great in the first half, terrible in the second half. Last year, he was terrible in the first half, great in the second half. I just want to see a full year of Kinsler, give me something decent. Last year he didn't have much pop until the second half. I think he only had 1 home run coming to the All-Star break. This year I want to see the Kinsler first year kind of power numbers. I want to see those home run totals climb back more towards 15. He walked more last year, which was good. I want to see that home runs go back more towards 15. I want to see the on base stay where it's at. The strikeouts weren't bad last year either. I want to see the slugging percentage, go up to about 450. I'd be very happy with that with Kinsler, especially with the defense he provides. So more consistency out of him. I don't expect this guy to hit 340 every single month, but I don't want to see him, hit 260 for the first half and then hit 330 in the second half of the year. I want to see, more consistency out of him, especially with his defense. Hopefully the pop comes through a little bit more this year, where he gets his home run totals back up to more closer to 15 instead of single digits. Nick Castellanos, last year in the second half he really improved. His power numbers were a lot better. If this kid could cut down on his strikeouts, take the ball the other way with this swing, because the guy has a natural inside-out swing. I mean, I know he has a great swing. I know what he could do with the bat. take the ball the other way, a little bit more consistency. He has power to all fields. I mean, I saw him take balls out to right center. I saw him take balls out to left center. I saw him take balls out to center field. I remember watching a Futures game in Kansas City take the ball out to center field. He has power. He has pop. He's a gap-to-gap hitter. And I think if he, didn't get so pull happy and, try to kill the ball 5,000 feet every swing, we'd see that out of Castellanos, his higher average. I remember when Castellanos was coming up, they were talking about this kid being a batting champion because of his great contact kind of swing. Well, what they didn't account for was his wildness, and he likes to swing at a lot of breaking balls in the dirt, especially first pitch, and he will chase the high fastball quite a bit too, and he will let it all. He doesn't get cheated on most swings. So Casty, I want to see his walk rate come up a little bit. I want to see more of that pop that he had in the second half. I want to see those doubles reach 30 this year, and hopefully he hits 20 home runs. I want to see 50 extra base hits out of Castellanos. That's my goal for Castellanos this year, 50 extra base hits and get that average up to 275 and get that on base up to about 320. Iggy Iglesias made the All-Star team last year for the first time in his career. He's a guy that makes a lot of contact. He's a guy that he's very hard to strike out. He's a pesky hitter. Just repeat last year. I have no qualms, no quarrels, nothing for Jose Iglesias. Do exactly what you did last year. Just don't get in a fight with James McCann. I want to see if he posts the exact numbers, I'd be happy as all hell. J-Up. I said this when we acquired him. You know what you're going to get. 270, 330 to 340 on base. Guy's going to close slug to 500, 20 to 30 home runs with 130 to 140 strikeouts. That's what you're going to get out of Justin Upton. That's what you're going to get. He's going to be very hot. He's going to be very cold. He's going to have months where he hits 9 to 12 home runs. He's going to have months where he hits 2. But at the end of the year, his numbers will be 275, 25, and 85. If we get that out of J-Up with his pretty good glove and left, I'll be happy. Anthony Gose. Just learn to hit a fucking left-handed pitcher. My God, and he's a shitty outfielder. He has a rocket of an arm, but he's a shitty outfielder who can make the occasional great catch. He can't get on base to save his life, even though he had spurts last year where he did get on base at a decent clip. If this kid can hit even 255, 260, and if this kid can get on base at even a 315 to 320, I don't expect him to hit 310 and drive in 70. If he went and hit 260, got on base at a 315 clip, slugged 400, hit 5 home runs, and drove in 60, I would be happy as long as he played a decent center field. That's all I want out of him, because him and Mabe are going to split time. That's all I want. I'm not asking too much. But, my God, he's got to work defensively. He's got to learn to hit left-handers above a Mendoza line clip. He has to. He was a terrible hitter. I remember in spring last year, he killed it. And then start the year, he was killing it. Lots of triples, lots of doubles. He has extra base power in his, bat. I remember this game against Cleveland. He hit his first home run of the year off Corey Kluber. He has pop. I'm not expecting him to hit 40 home runs. But to have 20 to 22 doubles and 10 triples, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. And play a center field where at a league average pace. I don't think that's too out of the question. And that's what he needs to do. And needs to work on his game against left-handed pitching because he's god-awful against lefties. So it's unacceptable at the clips he hits them at, especially with Maben being down, and he's going to be the guy, getting most of the everyday reps to start the year. J.D. Mart, my God, just do what he did last year. And that's a lot to ask because he's so good. I'm not even going to give any expectations. If the boy hits 280, the boy gets on at a 340, 350 clip, slugs 470 to 500, hits 28 to 34 bombs. He's good. Plays a great right field. He's got a rocket of an arm. He can put him at either corner spot. He's a good outfielder. Great power. I mean, he had 3 home runs, and it was impressive. 1 to left center, 2 to right field. 1 was down the right field line. 1 was right center. 1 left center field gap. The boy can take it out at any part of the park. Great swing. Awesome bat plane to the ball. I mean, he's just so good at making hard contact. Great outfielder. Good arm in the outfield. JD, just keep doing his thing. I expect more of the same from JD this year because he's an outstanding hitter. He's great. Now, Victor got hurt this year in spring. Wasn't anything bad. He ended up hitting a home run the other day. Victor, I think this year, this is a guy that, I've said this even when they re-signed him. I wasn't happy they re-signed him, but this is a guy that just knows how to hit. A beautiful swing from both sides of the plate. He's an on-base machine. He can draw walks. I think the power is going to come back this year. His knee is healthy. So, honestly, Victor this year should easily hit 315. Victor this year should easily get on base at a 360 to a 380 clip because he walks. He doesn't strike out a lot. He gets a bat on ball a lot. And I think the home runs are going to come closer to 15 to 17 this year. I don't think you're ever going to see 30 out of him again, but I think 15 to 17 homers, a well above league average clip. He's going to slug at a nice percent, probably 460 to 470. He's going to have a nice slugging percentage. He's going to walk 80, 90 times. He's only going to strike out probably, 40, 50, 60 times. He's an outstanding hitter. And I expect that Victor look good this spring. His knee looks healthy. He says he's healthy. His swing says he's healthy. His power he's had this spring says he's healthy. So that's what I expect out of Victor this year. Saltalamacchia. I really liked this addition. He cost you pennies. He ended up trading Brian Holiday because Saltalamacchia was so good in spring and they didn't really need Brian Holiday. Brian Holiday to me, or Jared Saltalamacchia to me, I always butcher that name. 9 to 10 home runs. Probably hit you 260. Perfect. That's all you need. He's not gonna win you any games with the glove. He's not gonna win you any games with the arm. But to give James McCann a blow a couple of times a week, put him up against some lefties, the guy has some pop, and he's gonna use it. So I like Salty. I like Salty a lot. So I don't expect too much. 260, maybe not. 5 to 10 home runs. That's about it. Andrew Romine. Now, I don't expect anything out of him offensively, but I do expect him to be able to play multiple infield positions and play them well. And he has a good glove. He has a good arm at shortstop. You can play him at short. You can play him at second. You can play him at first. He's versatile. I really like what he brings. So, Romine, I don't have any offensive expectations. I just hope he keeps playing defense well. Tyler Collins. He's another bat I really like. You got a lefty bat with power coming off the bench. He's not a very good outfielder, but he's a guy that I think could be almost like a Marcus Thames from the left side of the plate, like Thames used to be. He used to be able to get up there and bat a couple of times a week, and always have that risk of him taking you deep because he has that power. I remember when he was in Cleveland, he had a pinch hit home run last year. Tyler Collins did to dead center field in the shrubbery. So he has pop. The boy can hit. So I think he's a solid fourth outfielder. I like that you can bring him off the bench late. He's got power. So I don't really expect much from Collins. I don't think he's even going to be up this entire year. I think he's going to be up for the first maybe couple of weeks to a month, and then he'll get sent back down. So I don't have many expectations for Tyler Collins. Mike Aviles. Now, I don't have much offensive expectations for him, but Omar Vizquel said he's an outstanding shortstop. Was very, very impressed at Aviles' abilities there. So I do expect Aviles to be more like Andrew Romine. I hope he needs to play a good shortstop. He needs to play a good outfield. He's not there for his bat. He's got that jackass style of swing where he puts the bat over his head like this. As long as he comes out and plays solid defense, the 1 start to 2 starts a week he gets, or he comes in as a defensive replacement, makes the plays when the ball's hit to him. That's all I care about. If he's a Don Kelly-esque hitter where he hits maybe 5 home runs and hits 240, so be it. But he needs to be able to come in, replace Castellanos late, need be, if Romine doesn't replace him, or they need a 4th guy in the outfield to give J.D. Mart a blow. I'm fine with it. Just play good defense. That's all I ask. And that's essentially it. I don't have much offensive expectations for him. Now the rotation, JV. I'm going kind of conservative because I know everyone's like, oh, Justin Verlander's back. I read an article for bold predictions that they had Justin Verlander winning the Cy Young. I can't jump on that bandwagon, even though I love me some Justin Verlander. Now, I'm going conservative on my picks. I'm going to go more towards career average. I think he's going to have a 3.30 ERA. He's going to strike out close to 200 guys. He's going to pitch probably 190 to 200 innings. So I'm going to go conservative. Now, If Verlander does what Verlander I think he can do, you're looking at a guy with a 270 to 280 ERA. Guy strikes out 200, 230 batters, and he's going to pitch about 220 innings. That's if Verlander is truly back. But I'm going conservative on Verlander this year for the picks just because he's 32. And there's a difference if Verlander did what he did when he was 28 in the second half compared to being 32 coming off injury-riddled, seasons last year. He missed a couple of months, and then the year before that, he had that core surgery to start the spring. There's a difference between being someone my age and coming off that, and 32 with a couple thousand innings logged on your arm, and trying to reclaim dominance, especially if you've lost a little bit off your fastball. So, that's why I'm being conservative. Jordan Zimmermann, guy, mid-3 ERA. He's coming over from the NL. He's going to be learning all new hitters. He's going to be learning a whole new league. So it's not like an AL pitcher going over NL where you get the pitcher, and it's an easier league to pitch in. So I'm going to say Zimmerman's number is going to be up a little bit. I'm not giving wins because wins are a god-awful stat. I don't care how many wins he has. So Zimmermann, 320 to 360 ERA. I don't think he's going to be the ace that people, think they're getting. He's not going to be David Price. He's not going to be Max Scherzer. Zimmermann is more of a 3-starter type numbers, I think, in the American League, within the American League. So, 320 to 340 or 320 to 360, somewhere in there. Whip probably about 1.1, 1.2. So, but hopefully he proves me wrong because we saw Zimmermann, and the boy's got nasty stuff. He really, really does, but I'm going conservative on him as well. Sanchez. If Sanchez is right, I think his numbers look somewhere like along the lines of Jordan Zimmermann. 320 to 360, whip right about the same. Sanchez needs to just get back to throwing strikes and staying healthy and being on the mound. That's his biggest thing. Mike Pelfrey. He's so fucking bad. He's just so bad. He's got to be a guy. If he has a good year, his ERA will be just a tad over 4. If he has a good year, maybe 4.10, 4.15. Whip about 1.3, 1.4. If Pelfrey could come out and give us an ERA of 4.10 and log 185 innings, I will be happy. But what's probably going to happen is he's probably going to start 30 games, only pitch 170 innings, and his ERA is going to be fucking 4.60 because he sucks. He's a guy that has he has a decent fastball, but he doesn't strike many hitters out. Luckily he has a good defense up the middle behind him. I just don't like Mike Pelfrey at all. I never have, not even when he was on the Mets. I've never liked Mike Pelfrey. Shane Green. I don't have much expectations for him because, he came out last year and he almost had 2 complete games in a row. He had one at Comerica Park nearly where he went 8 innings. Then he went to Pittsburgh and got pulled after 8 innings. But I don't think he's going to be in rotation the full year. I think he maybe makes, 8 to 10 starts. And then Norris is back in there. So I don't have much expectations for Green. Now Norris, if Norris comes in and has 25 starts, if Norris can have an ERA of high 390s to low 4s, I'll be happy with that. And pitch 150 to 160 innings, I'll be happy with that. A lot of people are expecting Norris to be really, really good right off the bat because he's such a highly talented prospect, but I think that is way too unrealistic expectations because not everyone, comes out and as a rookie and is, a Mike Trout or Bryce Harper type rookie season. That's just a rare thing. You're not going to be, Clayton Kershaw wasn't Clayton Kershaw overnight. So I think Norris has hopefully, I'm just aiming for him to come in this year and throw 150 innings and give some quality starts because he had some bad starts last year. He has a hard time repeating his delivery. Sometimes his fastball command slips him a little bit, but he has a good secondary. He has a good changeup and he has a good curveball. He has a nice hook. So that's all I want. I want health. I want innings. And just to see growth from last year. That's all I want out of Daniel Norris. Now the bullpen. This is the current bullpen. K-Rod, do what you did last year. Mid-2 ERA, 37 saves. Strikeout rate was down, but posted lowest walk rate of his career, lowest hits per 9 of his career, lowest whip of his career. Just do that. Mark Lowe, just replicate the second half you had with Toronto. That's all I ask out of you. He hasn't been good this spring, but that's all I hope he does. Justin Wilson, the dude's a tank. Man throws hard. He gets out righties actually better than he gets lefties. So he has reverse splits, which is kind of oddballish, but that's all good. He's an outstanding. He's the best lefty this pen has had in 5 years. The best lefty I could remember. So Wilson's an outstanding pitcher. I like him a lot. Drew Verhagen, the boy from the right side. You know, good, solid mid-90s fastball, not a bad hook. So he was good last year too. He posted some respectable numbers with his minimal time he spent with the Tigers. I like him. Buck Farmer, he's gonna pretty much be him and Kyle Ryan are your long men. He's gonna be a guys when you're losing by 3 and you need a couple an innings out of your bullpen because say someone like Justin Wilson can't pitch. These guys are going to come out and give you 2-3 innings and hopefully keep the game close. So that's all I'm expecting. Those guys, they're your long men. I expect those two guys to switch quite a bit coming up and down from the minors this year because Alex Wilson's going to be in there when he gets healthy. So I expect one of those two guys to be gone. And Logan Kensing, what's his name? Yeah, Kensing. I don't know much about him, but if it's anything like the last couple of years, it's like when Angel Nesbitt made the opening day roster a couple of years ago with the Tigers. He had a cup of coffee. He was gone by mid-April. Logan Kensing is probably going to be the same premise, same case. Who knows? I mean, Alex Wilson started last year in AAA and came up and he was a monster all year, except maybe towards the second half. But the Farmer, Ryan, Kensing trio, I don't expect to last because Blaine Hardy, when he comes back, he's definitely going to take the spot of one of those 3 guys. Alex Wilson's going to take the spot of one of those 3 guys for sure. So the bullpen is more going to be, K-Rod, Lowe, Wilson, Alex Wilson, Blaine Hardy are going to be your main guys in that pen. So these guys might as well enjoy their cup of coffee. It's going to be between Verhagen, Farmer, Ryan, and Kensing who gets sent down when those 2 guys get healthy. So, nonetheless, that's pretty much my thoughts this year on the Tigers. Like I said, an overview, a good year out of this team. I think they could win 85 to 90 games and win the division. A realistical year for these guys. It was anywhere between 500 to 85 wins and compete for a second wild card spot. Worst things worst, they win 75 games and finish in last because someone got hurt or, their bullpen faltered or they didn't have enough starting pitching. The only thing is good about this year is the Tigers are in a position, unlike last year, they had to sell because they had so many upcoming free agents that they couldn't afford to re-sign. So they had no choice but to sell off because they needed youth for the future. Now, with Matt Boyd, with Michael Fulmer, with Kevin Zielmek, they have a lot of Babe Burrows. They have a lot of young talent. Or even Jacoby Jones. They have a lot of young talent built to where last year, if they wanted to buy and help their team, which was one game over 500, they were shit anyways, and help their team become better, they can. They can deal from some minor league positional depth. Unlike last year, to help a rotation if they need help. Say they're a couple games over 500 at the deadline, but they're within 5 games of KC, and they need a starter. You bet your ass they're probably going to trade for someone. They'll deal Green. They'll deal, Buck Farmer or, someone like that to try to get, a decent arm to help the rotation. So or get a decent arm for the bullpen. So they have some depth to deal from this year, unlike last year where they had none and they had to sell. So my expectations, compete for a second wild card spot, hopefully win the division. That's all I really gotta say. They're gonna be boom or bust, guys. There's nothing. They're gonna be really good or they're gonna be hurt and they're gonna be really bad. So that's all I got for you guys. What are your predictions for the 2016 Detroit Tigers? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Let me know. Did you like my picks? I don't know. You tell me.